It's time to present Scott DuPont to bring you another episode of Finance Your Movie with tips and strategies to help you get your money to tell your story. It's time!
Another jam-packed episode. We are back with Finance Your Movie. Today I have Stephen LaMorte, writer, director, and Amy Schumacher, actor, producer, and a stunt performer of The Mean One. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Hello. Thank
Hi.
you. Thanks for having us.
So The Mean One, I guess it released to theatrically last December, January?
That's right. The Mean One was out in December of last year. So it was in theaters all over the country here in America. It was only supposed to be in theaters for one weekend. And then due to word of mouth and kind of our viral marketing campaign, it grew and grew until it was in theaters with Avatar for the entire Christmas holiday season up until January. And now it's back on DVD and streaming in time for this Christmas, as well as some pretty exciting stuff overseas.
So I got to give a shout out to your co-producer, Martine Malul, I believe. We were having incredible lady, by the way. I mean, she's just been on fire the past 5 or 6 years, all these movies she's putting together and raising the money for. We were sitting at, I guess, Aroma Cafe in Studio City in mid-December, might have been the first week of January. And she told me about the meet. It's like, what are you working on? It's like, oh, I got this, little film out, micro budget, under 500,000, clearly. And it's like, well, what are you gonna do? Stream it? Oh, no, it's in theaters. And I go, oh, you're four-walling it. No, it's in like mainstream theaters, like 1 or 2 cities. Oh, no, it's all over the country. I'm like, what? Because here's my thing, and I will not backtrack on what my beliefs are. I believe if you're doing a low budget, let's say $1 million or less, independent movie, there's pretty much no theatrical for that independent market. And you guys blew it up. So that's what's exciting. I mean, you guys broke it. I'm sure your investors are happy. Tell us first of all how this whole project came together.
Okay, yeah. It actually stemmed from an idea Stephen has had for many, many years. And just 1 year prior to being in theaters across the country, we had made a fake trailer. No, there was no feature film meant to come out of it. We were just having fun and made a trailer based on his idea, I think, to get the concept and idea out of his system. And it was so well received that we ended up moving forward with making the feature.
Yeah, and we went from concept reel, which was never meant to go any further than that, to a feature film script, because remember we had no feature film script, all the way through to delivery. And I think it was like 8 months, because we shot the fake trailer in December of 21, and then in January of 22, we're like, hey, maybe we should make this into a movie. We had a script in March. We're in production in May, June. And then we're delivering to theaters on time for a Christmas release. What was supposed to only be, a web video release, a glorified TikTok kind of deal. And then, one thing led to another, and people, there was clearly an interest in it. And we decided if they want us to go theatrical, we'll give the people what they want. And here we are about to be in theaters again, all around the world this December 23. We're going to be in theaters dubbed in different languages, and it's, I guess, like a re-release, but this time overseas. And we're really excited.
Wow. So I did not know that about that kind of fake trailer. So the fake trailer gets a little bit of traction, I guess, on social media. People are seeing it on the internet. And then how did you come up with that chunk of money where you could, start production? Was that Martine, or did you guys do some crowdfunding? You reach out to friends and family, investors?
Well, I mean, we've produced a number of independent films, actually several of them much larger than this one. So we had kind of an investor pool, and we had distributors that we've worked with. And, we have some small level investors who, we said, hey, it's such a small, silly little gamble. So we raised most of the money from private equity, and then we're able to kind of say, well, it's they're like, oh, you're trying to finish the movie, you just need a little bit of money to finish it. We're like, no, that's the budget. As long, and they're like, okay, we'll roll the dice on this. This seems kind of fun. And then once the different distribution parties got involved and got interested, it made it really easy to kind of say, well, it's a gamble, but it's a small gamble. Let's go for it. And now, everyone is very happy. Martine was instrumental in that, in addition to some of the other investors we've worked with in the past.
Awesome. Awesome. So a couple of repeat investors that just came in on this one.
Mm-hmm. Right. And,
And,
it's something kind of interesting. I think when the cost is low compared to what people are used to investing in, or, when the chance for reward is relatively high, because the cost is so low, it's a little easier to get things done. Obviously, the every dollar you put on your budget sheet is $1 further away from making your movie that you
Exactly.
are. So, if you can, and there's some stuff that we did to economize the film, and there's some stuff that was just like empirically bad producing. Like, why this scene could have taken place at a kitchen table, and we set it in a bar. A bar needs background actors. A bar needs bottles. The bar needs light. The bar needs colored music in the background. Like, why did we do this? We just wanted to because it was fun. And I think it comes across in the movie that, as much as we were trying to be cost conscious, we still made the movie that we wanted to see. And I think people respond to it.
Well, the bar did look pretty cool in the movie, so I think it was worth it.
I think so too.
So,
but there are just some moments you're tired and you're like, why did we could have set this scene in a kitchen? Why did we set it why did we have to go to the zoo to film it? But then you see it on screen and you're like, oh, that's why, because it's fun.
So you guys kind of got creative. You didn't go to a traditional finance company for a big P&A budget, right? You worked with your distributors and they kind of kept your costs down to go to all these theaters.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the fact was we did not plan to go to theaters initially. So our P&A budget had to be raised after the fact because, for a small streaming release, we're going to focus predominantly on digital marketing. The costs are much, much lower because we're not, going through a post house to send hard drives to, hundreds of theaters around the country. We're not printing thousands of posters. We're not distributing competition materials. So that had to kind of be a little bit of a Hail Mary catch up. Because when you're going theatrical, normally there's a lot more lead time and, you have either planned in advance on the spend or how you're going to avoid the spend. But, we tried to be as efficient and economical as possible. I mean, the challenge ended up being that the demands exceeded even our own expectations. And so just trying to play catch up on, oh, Regal wants to give us 10 times as many theaters as we initially thought. Do we have the budget to print that many posters? I mean, it was like that really, in late November, early December, the movie's about to come out and, the gates are opening up and the people want the film. And, we kind of just had to hang on and do the best we could.
I think the time constraints were challenging, but also beneficial in some ways. I mean, there was just some things we didn't have the option to do because we didn't have the lead time to do it.
Yeah.
And it also keeps you from overthinking sometimes too. I mean, if we had 6 months to plan for this big theatrical release, I'm sure there's some things that would have been much less efficient because we had time. Let's, review and revise and tweak and shop around where, in this instance, it's like, there's the right way to do it. We're going to do it that way. And, we'll
and the internet itself, did a lot of work in terms of the marketing for us because it caught fire and was going everywhere. So that was helpful for us too.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on the Mean One. It just could turn into a cult classic every year. So if you haven't seen it yet, we're here Christmas time. Go see the Mean One anywhere and everywhere. And you said DVDs and Blu-rays are out also?
That's right.
Yes.
We have DVDs and Blu-rays are available now for sale. You can get them, online at wherever you like to shop, Walmart, Amazon. If you like signed DVDs or merchandise, you can get that on our store, themeanonestore.com. And if you want to watch the movie and any TV, mobile device, your cable box, you can find it whether it's renting on Amazon or on direct TV or, through your satellite or cable provider on your phone. I mean, I think you can even technically watch it on YouTube. I mean, it's everywhere. So if you
we won't do that. We want you guys to get your 3 cent royalty or whatever it is. Every few cents count, right?
That's right. No, I mean, but you can rent it on
Yeah.
YouTube, actually. Like,
And
Oh,
for
okay.
an international audience, it's available in the UK, Australia,
that's right.
Oh, cool.
Belgium,
Amazon
Luxembourg,
UK, Amazon
Ben-
Australia.
No, not just Amazon. It's DVD and streaming. I mean, the thing really is everywhere. And if it's not in your territory now, some territories it'll be coming to theaters this towards the end of December of this year, 2023, and then the rest of the world will be coming shortly. So we're not everywhere yet, but we will be very, very soon. The mean one is coming for you.
Awesome, awesome. So a lot of people, especially of our audience, they like to see how you guys got your start. Amy, you're originally from Seattle, right?
Yes.
And then you
Yeah.
started out acting, you did a whole bunch of shorts, and then I guess you did the Mean One was really only your second feature. You did a film called Trials of Ember.
Oh, Trials of Ember is a short film also, actually.
Oh, that was a
The Mean
short.
was my first feature.
Oh, okay. Awesome. So let's switch over to you, Stephen. So you're originally from New York, correct?
That's right. New York City, born and raised.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit when we first met. So you've come a long way, over 24 projects, both directing and producing over the years. What is, and you can just pick a random one of your early films, doesn't matter what the budget was, but how did you get your first feature financed or put together? Because that's what a lot of people want to know. Like, hey, how did you get your first one done? I got to get over the hump.
Well, I mean, so my very first feature that I was probably not even available anywhere. Basically we did, this was back when crowdfunding was first starting. So we did a little bit of crowdfunding, and then, we just chose a movie that was so small we could raise the money from friends and family, both through crowdfunding and then, 2 or 3 private investors who threw us, 10,000 here or 20,000 there. But I mean, in the digital age nowadays, I think people are looking too big. They're looking for, how can I make a movie that's going to make us $1 billion? When the fact is, you can make a career. You can make your next movie if your first one is profitable. So if you can choose a resource you have access to, a barn, a mountain, a farm, write a script that involves the people, the stuff you already need. You don't have lights? Well, guess we're not shooting at night. Like, anything you can do. I kind of crafted a script while I was in film school that could be made very budget friendly so that it was easier to use. I mean, I think I went to a party at the apartment of the guys that started Kickstarter. That's how long ago this was.
Oh, wow.
So I was on Kickstarter, and, people were just talking about it. So we started with crowdfunding before it was sort of ubiquitous, and got a few other investors and friends and family to help out, made a million mistakes. But then it was done. It was something that we could point to, and something that was profitable because the cost was so low, not by much, but it was profitable. And now all of a sudden you're playing in a very different tier because you haven't not made a movie before. Now you've even though you've just made one, we could say, hey, we made it for this much. Here's how we did. You should let me make this second one. Things got substantially easier because that first one is just, we're looking for $50 million for a action adventure film. People look at you like, you just graduated. No way. You're crazy. So I think starting really small and using the resources you have access to and making something truly original and fresh is much more doable than, like, how do I book my Marvel movie? You'll get there, but you start small and make something that really stands out.
Exactly. Have you had luck on, let's just say, that first one and your second, third, fourth, sometimes going back to some of your previous investors? Or most of the time on a new movie, you're just kind of reaching out to different people? What would your experience?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, there's some folks who, friends and family who got in early. I would not encourage them to invest in a movie again because we're obviously spending a lot more than before. There's any of the investors that were happy on the last go around, I tend to go back to. But, the fact is, when you have a project that's successful, it is easier to bring your project to new people, or when people come to new people come to you and they say, hey, I've wanted to invest in a movie. I saw that last thing did well. I'd like my name on your next blah, blah, blah. That does make things a little bit easier. So it really depends. I mean, any relationship, be it with your cast or your crew or investors, has to be nurtured and developed. And, maybe they don't invest in your first one. Maybe they don't invest in your third one, but, you want to build trust and a rapport with all of your partners, whether they're investing time, money, or otherwise, in order to kind of get where you're trying to go.
So Amy, since this was your first big project, your first feature, what lessons did you learn, both in reaching out to investors and just kind of putting the whole project together?
Yes, I feel like this was my first feature, but I had done multiple shorts and a couple of series. And so there were a lot of lessons that I was able to take from there and just expand them and make them bigger. And in terms of getting this film off the ground, there were a lot of elements that were coming at us so quickly that we played a little bit of catch up because we were moving so fast, and it was expanding as we were, moving and filming. So I think taking the lead off of Martine for me was really helpful to have her. As you mentioned, she's a rock star. And from the production side, there are just so many moving elements that weren't very dissimilar to producing a series, but we just had a shorter period of time to do it. So as a producer, and then also being an actor in those moments, the team support was really helpful as well.
Yeah, and that probably freed you up, Stephen, to focus more time on directing, right?
It did. Yeah. I mean, any small movie is going to be all hands on deck, wearing, lots of hats. Amy is, of course, supporting me as we're producing. I'm trying to support her. I'm trying to direct her in a scene, and you have to try to get out of your head and say, okay, neither one of us is worried that lunch is running late, because it's usually not, but today it is. And that's okay, because I have to direct and you have to act, and one of the other producers will handle it. It's tricky, but it is doable. And this job is very, very hard. So it's great to do it with someone you love.
Anything you learned on this project or any more recent projects just that you would share with first-time filmmakers trying to raise $100,000, or maybe second-time filmmakers trying to do a $500,000 million budget? Any words of advice?
Pre-production. Pre-production can save you so much money and time and effort, and to help you really get the product that you want. Sometimes when we're in pre-production, when we feel like we don't have a lot of money, then corners might feel like they should be cut, but that's not where it should come from. The prep is what saves you on the back end, I feel like. So moving forward, and as advice to others, I think being really set up to shoot the script you want to shoot with the people that are on the same level with you, ready to work, I think will in the end save you a lot of money and time and effort, and make a better product anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing worse than, putting in so much effort and then fumbling the ball at like the 1 yard line. If you are trying to create something, there's going to be some stuff on a low budget that's going to sting. There's going to be some creature comforts you would have on a larger set that, maybe you have to carry some cases, even though you're the director. Maybe we don't have iced coffee every day. I mean, there's going to be some stuff that's going to get trimmed, but at the end of the day, pain is temporary, film is forever. You don't want to torture your crew, but you also want to keep as much money as you can on screen. So if you're spending exorbitant amounts of money on parking or on, things that aren't physically in the four walls of the frame, then I always, for me, when I'm producing, I try to just evaluate. Now, if the crew is well fed, which they should be, then they will work harder. And if there are less of them, you can afford nicer food. So, there's just a balancing act of, how much, if your movie is about the talking Lamborghini, then I guess we have to get a Lamborghini, or we change the script. But if it's essential to your movie, it doesn't matter that this is a disproportionate cost. On a low budget film, you're not doing proportionate like budgeting. Your cast budget is going to be less than it normally would be. Your camera rental budget might seem like, wow, 40% of my production budget, that's too much for cameras. but your budget's so low, you can't budget like a normal movie. So I think also not being afraid to get creative with your budget is really, really helpful, because some stuff just costs what it costs. If you don't have a free Lamborghini and you need the talking Lamborghini for your talking Lamborghini movie, and it's essential, then, you might pay disproportionately for that, and that's okay. But that money, has to be reallocated somewhere.
So true, so true. And it's so true. You got to just make sure your cast and crew are fed. Just a little bit of good food goes a long way, because sometimes you're on set a long, long time. So quick question before we wrap. Just in case anyone from our Millionaire Flicks audience happens to be listening, this is where this episode premieres each week. Any exciting future projects that are kind of in development or might be shooting next year? Or maybe
Yes.
something you can't talk about?
Yes.
The pregnant pause. We do have a new movie that we're gearing up for, that plans to shoot in the middle of next year. We're not super duper supposed to talk about it. We've been developing it for the last year.
Mhm.
And we have a lot of amazing elements secretly on board. Now that the strike's over, we're able to move forward with. So we have some cool cast who have signed on, who haven't been announced yet. Great
So
location.
let me save you
Yeah.
the embarrassment then. If you
Sorry.
can't-
Here's my non-answer.
So
Yes, but
if you can't publicly talk about that, what's a good social media contact where people can reach out to you if they just want to follow you or get more information when you're able to talk about it?
Yes, sure. My Instagram handle is a great place, or Instagram is a great place. And my handle is Amy Schumacher Official. That's SCHUMACHER. Amy Schumacher Official. And I'm sure at some point we'll do a little announcement on the Mean One page. So the Mean One movie is a good place to keep tabs on us and yours.
and I'm also mostly accessible on Instagram at Stephen LaMorte, and the Mean One page is at the Mean One Movie. And you can also follow the Mean One on Facebook at the Mean One Movie. But yeah, that's the Instagram's the best way to reach us. We love connecting with fellow filmmakers and fans and anyone that's into what we're up to. And we'll have big announcements on our next project really, really soon, just not yet.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate both of you coming on, because I know you're gearing up for this holiday season again with the Mean One. I saw it last year. I'm going to go back and stream it again because I enjoyed it so much. Definitely check out at the Mean One Movie. Stephen and Amy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for listening. And remember, it's time!
There's never been a better time to make your own indie film. And if you have a dream project you're excited about and 100% committed to getting it funded, go to financeyourmovie.com and click on the green telephone button. You'll see our calendar, and if you find an open spot, grab it. You'll get a one-on-one call with me or one of my partners. It will be the best hour you've ever spent getting clarity and strategy towards financing your movie. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.